Everyone, we're just about ready to get started. This is Justin Cook. I'm here with my business partner extraordinaire, Joe Magnani. What's going on, buddy?
Hello, everybody.
Just want to make sure you can hear us. If you could, just give us a shout in the chat. You can say anything nice. Keep it nice. It's evening. It's morning here in Asia. It's evening there in the U.S. Let's keep this friendly.
Yeah, guys, thank you for joining. I think we're going to have a great webinar here, something to walk through, but just want to check the technology and make sure that everything's working. So let us know.
Also, let us know where you're at in the world. I know, we're currently all together for our, team retreat here in Phuket, Thailand, hanging out, having a little fun in the sun, getting a little bit of work done. But I know, the rest of you, some of you are in Europe, some of you in the US. So we'd love to hear kind of like what city, what country you're in right now.
It's 6 a.m. here, so the team here has gotten up bright and early to give you guys this webinar. And the sun is just about to pop up over the Phuket Mountains. Beautiful view we have from our villa here. So great to join you guys and walk through this.
All right, guys, we're just gonna give this a couple of minutes to let everyone kind of get in and get settled before we get this rolling. Hope you all are having a great day. We've got a lot of really interesting stuff to cover. We've been working on this for quite a while, and we're really excited to share all this stuff with you today.
Yeah, that's a good point, Justin. We have been working on this for quite some time. It hasn't exactly been a super secret project, but we haven't unveiled it publicly, and this begins that process. So very excited to get started and show everything that's been done under the hood.
Cool. So it looks like people can hear us. If you have any questions, we are going to be doing a Q&A at the end. So we're going to be happy to dig in any of your questions and kind of cover those. Joe and I are here, obviously, but we're going to be turning most of this webinar over to a couple of special guests of ours. These guys are hustlers, hard workers for the company. We've got our VP of Engineering, James, and we've got our Director of Marketing, Greg, who are going to be walking through all this stuff today.
Yeah, Justin, I think it's important that we have James and Greg do the walkthrough because, they're actively the ones building and operating the platform. So I think it's important that they do that. They run the walkthrough and they show everyone around.
James is kind of a funny ad. He came on board a couple of years ago and was a customer of ours, right?
Yes.
And there was a point at which he was giving us ideas. I remember he was talking about the valuation tool, and he's like, there's all this really cool stuff we can do. I'm really excited. I think you should try this, this, and this. And we were like, I don't really know how to do this. And he's like, but I do. And we're like, I know, but we don't work with you. And we had to basically solve that problem. So after basically pleading with him to come on board and like kind of share with him kind of our vision for what we wanted to get done, he was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. I can be the guy that can help you make this happen.
Yeah, we first had a conversation with James back in 2015, actually in Thailand as well, in Bangkok, before one of our favorite conferences, the Dynamite Circle. And the idea germinated from there. Originally, we called it the Deal Center, but we realized in 2015, we didn't have the money to hire engineers, really professional engineers, and really the business wasn't ready for it at that point. So I am glad we waited, but James was always there waiting in the wings to come on board. We finally got him to come on board in July of 2018. We built an engineering team over the first few months, and we were able to get an MVP up, within 12 months. I think that's a great accomplishment in its own right.
It is. We're really excited about where this is going. We're not going to say much more. We're going to hand this over to Greg and James. We'll still be around. If you have questions for us at the end, we're happy to do some Q&A with you guys. And then Greg and James can talk a bit more about the platform as well if you have any questions about that. All right, guys, so that's it. I'm going to hand it over to James and Greg right now, and they'll start going through the presentation, and we'll get this rolling.
Hey everyone, good morning or good evening rather for most of you on here. I see at least one person in Bali right now, so I guess it's a morning for you as well. James, you want to say hello?
Hey guys, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. If you are trying to use the chat, just remember that GoToWebinar isn't allowing us to do a cross-attendee chat, so just use the question section in the app. And we will be doing a Q&A at the end, so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in there and we'll try to get to them all before we're done here. I saw that some people can see our slides, so we'll just go ahead and begin here. So one of the things we've been working on is how to make it better for you guys when it comes to buying online businesses. And James has been a huge help with this, with what we're about to reveal to you. But if you're not too familiar with who we are, maybe you saw this from Jungle Scout or Ahrefs, just a quick recap of who we are. First off, we're the #1 curated marketplace in the world. We have the largest amount of deal flow of anyone else out there when it comes to selling and buying online businesses that are making profit. We're also the winner of the Inc. 5000 award for the fastest growing company in America, 4 years in a row now. We just got the 4th one, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah. And we've sold hundreds of deals. In fact, we've sold so many deals that when we won the IBBA award for it, they actually looked at us and said, are you kidding me? And unfortunately, they didn't have a bulk uploader when we submitted all our deals. So that was a fun time submitting that. But that's who we are. And if you are familiar with us, you're probably already fairly familiar with our marketplace. And if you are, you probably know the sorting options were pretty limited, right? Look, James, you came in here and you definitely changed this. But the old sorting options that we had was you could see what was current, what was new for the week, and what was sold. And you had sorting columns. You can click monetizations. But overall, it wasn't terribly advanced stuff. So if you're not familiar with our old marketplace, here's a image of it right here. Hopefully all of you guys can see our screen. This is our first time using GoToWebinars. So, but now that we have this new way, we want to show you what we've done, what James has been able to create with his team, where they spent thousands of hours on development, planning, theory crafting over the last few months. And we honestly launched this internally first. So our team's already been using this. Do you want to say anything, James, about your journey in creating this?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we first spent the first 6 months building the alpha version, which we called, and we've been using this internally. And before that, we were using a bunch of sort of like side software add-ons in our WordPress site. Joe mentioned about the deal center, and so it was just very sort of not consolidated. So we spent the first 6 months consolidating all of that, getting the data in place, and the data migration task wasn't easy, but we hired a few really great people from the Philippines, and they've been a really great help to us. And then we've been building out the customer-facing side of things, and that's what we're going to be demonstrating today. And we have first started work on that in January this year, and now it's ready for production use.
Speaking of that, a little bit of a plot twist. We are actually hiring another developer. So if you like what you see and you happen to be a developer, definitely check out our careers page and you get a chance to work with Mr. Andrews over here. So let's move on to showing you guys the actual marketplace. So you probably have noticed we're not in full screen, and the reason why is we're going to be jumping back and forth from this presentation to the actual platform that we built, the new marketplace. But just a few things before we head over there. If you're used to the old filters and that was good enough for you, and that that's all you need, that's totally fine. All the old filters that you could have used on the old marketplace still exist. Now you just have a lot more options. The main thing that this platform does, or the new marketplace does for you, is it's going to speed up your due diligence. And the reason why is you're going to be able to select the columns of the data that you want to see, the pieces of data that are most important to you, as well as filter through the businesses. You're going to be able to see all of your deposits that you've made in one clear area, and you will also be able to add businesses to your watch list so you can see when seller interviews go live. And you can also use that watch list as a way to keep track of your short list of acquisition targets once you do start doing your due diligence. So let's hop over to the platform, huh?
Sure.
So this is the new platform. As you can see, it looks very different than the old one. It's much more intuitive, but like I said, all the old options still exist here. You can see new listings here. If you wanted to see what's been sold, you can just come into the filter options here, and you can just click on this and it will automatically reset with all of the listings that have been sold if that's something you're interested in. You can also see your personal purchases here. So if you're an avid buyer, you can always see the old listing page of the businesses you've acquired. And we're going to be going pretty in depth to on the filters and the column section here shortly, but a few other things. James, you want to show them the deposit page real quick?
Sure. So it's really easy to place a deposit. Just come in here and you view a listing. So when you view this page, there's some information available, but for security reasons, we don't reveal the URL until a refundable deposit is placed. So any information here that identifies the website is hidden, but that can be easily viewed by placing a refundable deposit or using a VIP code. Once you've placed your refundable deposit, that will unlock all of the hidden information. So over here, this is a demonstration listing, and this then gives you access to the URL and all of the private information. You can easily view the profit and loss and the other documentation that proves the income of the business.
Now, obviously, this is a test. Empire Flippers, while it is in a beautiful niche, it's not exactly the correct niche for this site, right? But you want to go back to that deposit page, James? So if you're out there in the audience and if you're one of our avid users of the deposit system, sorry, one more page back here. If you're making a bunch of different deposits, say you have a VIP code, all that kind of stuff, and you want to keep track of which businesses you've actually made a deposit on, you'll be able to go to that deposit page that James was just showing you. We'll bring it back up on here, and all of your deposits will be right here. So it's very easy to find and keep track of the businesses you are looking at. And likewise, if you haven't made a deposit just yet, but you like the business that you see, you can add it to your watch list. All you have to do is click this star and it'll come over here to this watch list, and now you have it right here. So if you're doing due diligence across, I don't know, maybe 10 different businesses that look interesting to you, you can keep them organized in here before you ever even make a deposit. And that's one of the beauties of this new system here. So let's hop back into the presentation. Oh, Joe just came in the wings wanting to show you the grid view. So let's do that. Thank you, sir. So we'll go back to the marketplace. Most people are pretty familiar with the listings, how it's done in a spreadsheet format. And while that's great for some people, other people want to have different ways of looking at the information. So in addition to being able to choose any of these columns, which we'll get into, you can also change the entire presentation to card view. So if you're viewing this on your mobile, maybe on a tablet, any of those kind of scenarios, or you just like this design better, this is a whole new way for you to see this information and tell the story and the narrative of these businesses using either the Spark graphs here or whatever information you wanted displayed. So that's the card view. We'll probably stick to the listing view. That's my preferred view, but everyone has a different preference there. So let's keep going here. So the few things that is super powerful about this platform, which you're about to see, is that it can speed up your due diligence dramatically. If you're looking for deals privately, trying to find your own deal flow, you probably already know that it can be a full-time job just doing the outreach, finding a deal, and then letting it pass your own 5-minute checks. That's one of the big benefits of coming to us as the broker with even our old marketplace. It cuts down due diligence dramatically. Now, this new platform, it takes what would have taken you hours to do on our old marketplace to do in just a few minutes. And we're going to get into that. But first, I would like to talk about what a due diligence framework is. So if you're a brand new buyer to our marketplace, maybe to the industry in general, you might not know what a due diligence framework is, but this is the tool that most savvy buyers use when they are coming to look at buying and investing into profitable online businesses. So it is a series of checklists based off of your criteria, your goals, your skill sets, and where you are right now. And you use that framework to help you disqualify businesses as quickly as you can so you can move on to a target that makes more sense with your criteria. Now, everyone's criteria is different. For some people, they want to see a content site that has a Google penalty. And for other people, that is absolutely not their criteria. They want to see one that has weathered the storms of Google updates, that has no penalty, right? So everyone's criteria is a bit different. And we're going to get into 3 different use case examples here with 3 different kinds of buyers and how they might use the platform to cut through the noise and speed up their due diligence to find real acquisition targets that make sense for them. And by the way, if this sounds kind of confusing, like, oh my God, I don't know how to set up my own criteria. I've never done this before. It sounds cool, but I don't know what to do. Don't worry, we'll have a link at the very end where you can actually set up a free criteria call with our team of business analysts, and they'll walk you through the whole process. It's usually between a 20 to 40-minute call, and they'll interview you to see where you're at to help you find businesses that make sense for you. So this is our first example, Content Carla. So Carla is someone that wants to quit their job. They want to have location independence. Those are the 2 things that are very, very important to them, but they're brand new to buying a business. They don't exactly know the whole space yet. They might know a little bit. So they want an asset that's sort of hands off, something that they can grow with and learn with, but something where they feel like, they can't mess up too easily. So Content Carla, her criteria is she wants a business that has $3,000 net profit per month, because that will either help her quit her job or at least make a big dent. So that's her goal, mixing with her criteria. She also wants a seller interview published. The reason why she wants that seller interview is because, again, she's brand new. She wants to learn a little bit about who the seller is before she even talks to any of our team or to the seller. She also wants this business to be a minimum of 2 years old, so it's weathered a bit of a storm, and she's only interested in content monetizations. Maybe she read our popular online business model book and she realizes content sites seem to be the best one for having a fairly hands-off business. Overall, though, she's niche agnostic, doesn't really care what the niche is in, as long as it meets her other criteria. So now we're going to go over to the platform and show you how easy it is to cut through our dozens of listings to get down to these content sites. So all we do is these 2 buttons right here. So you have filters and columns. In the column section, you can choose what information you want to display. I won't be messing around too much in here, but you can choose really anything you want. So if you only cared about seller interview, you can uncheck all of these and just have seller interview. This would get rid of all of the columns and only display seller interview. But what we really want to cut through the noise here is using the filter option. So as I mentioned, Carla is only interested in content sites. So you can see our list of monetizations here. I'm going to go ahead and click AdSense, advertising, affiliate, and Amazon Associates. And behind it is loading. As you can see, it's already cut down the listings from pages to a few dozen, so that's good, but we have a little bit more we want to do to meet our criteria and find the best possible business for us. So I already mentioned that Carla wants something that's making at least $3,000 per month. She's open to looking at what could be making more, but that is her minimum goal. So we're just going to put in $3,000 here, and that will filter the businesses even more. And again, she wants a business that has, weathered a few storms. So she wants something that's at least 2 years old. So I'm going to come in here, and you can either type in the number here or just do what I'm doing to get back to the date when the business was created. So we're going to go to October. I'll put in October 10th. And she also wants a seller interview. So you go to drop down here. Yes. Now we have just filtered out dozens of businesses through just filtering, simple filtering based off of our basic criteria. And because of that, we now are looking at 4 different businesses that meet our criteria. If I was Content Carla, I might look at that $1.6 million business. If I'm brand new, that might not be the one for me, right? But it's still interesting, aspirational. It's still I'm curious about what that could be. But these other 2 businesses at the bottom look like they might be more in my range. So I'm going to add them to my watch list to dive deeper into them later. They'll appear in my watch list as well, so I won't lose them as I go about looking at other businesses. And that's really how simple it is. Let's go back to the other other use cases. So we just did content, Carla. So if you're someone that is a brand new buyer, that's an easy way for you to filter. But what if you're a FBA acquire? Maybe you're someone who has raised millions of dollars to acquire FBA businesses, and you're looking to build a brand in the home niche. You're a real solid brand that can sell multiple different products. Maybe you're acquiring these FBA businesses so you can roll them up into that big brand you want to build. And honestly, because of the capital you've raised, you can scale most FBA businesses with your current capital and skill sets. So in this case, the criteria is quite different from Carla. Frank wants an Amazon FBA business only. That's the only monetization he's interested in. He also wants a minimum of 2 years old because he wants a solid foundation for his fund for the assets that they do acquire. And he wants it in the home niche specifically or related niches that could help his home brand that he's building. And because he wants a solid foundation with a solid track record for his FBA businesses, he's also interested in a business that has a trademark. So if we hop back over into the platform, there's two ways you can clear the filters. You can either click clear filters here, or you can just click the X here. There's actually a third way you can do it when you open up the filter settings here, where you just reset filters. It's very simple, very intuitive. So let's go into what Frank wants here. So monetization, we want Amazon FBA. And niche, this is someone that cares about the niche. They want to build a brand in a specific type of business. So we'll just scroll through all of these and see what makes sense here. So baking could be in the home niche, culinary, food and beverages might have something here for us. Hospitality, obviously home, kitchenware. I think that is good for here. There might be a few other niches Frank is interested in, but this should show us what we want. Now, for listing price and monthly net profit, Frank doesn't necessarily care how big the business is because they have the capital to scale, so we're going to leave those blanks. But he was interested in something that's at least 2 years old. Again, he wants something that has a good foundation with some reviews, all that good stuff. Someone that has probably have systemized their SOPs a little bit, something that they can really work with. So we're going to go back here to October, put in 10. And we want to have that trademark. So as you can see, we just cut through another few dozens of listings, and now we have our targets acquired here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 acquisition targets for my fund now, and it only took us a couple of minutes. That is one of the real big powers of using this filtering system. Based off your criteria, you can cut through dozens of listings in just a few minutes instead of having to click page by page and sorting and all that kind of stuff to find the right targets you want. For our last example, we'll talk about someone that wants some recurring revenue. This is someone that's up your alley, James. Someone that is into SaaS or a subscription type of business model. They're probably tech savvy. They are comfortable with tech stacks, comfortable with developers, managing developers. They know some code, but at the end of the day, they don't necessarily care if it's a SaaS business. What they actually care about is the predictable revenue. So they want something that has recurring revenue as part of their monetization model. So if we come over to what their criteria is, that's going to come down to either a software as a service typically or a subscription monetization. Now, one thing that Ray wants is something that's making at least $4,000 net profit per month. He's okay if he acquires a business that is, maybe created by a solopreneur, but he wants to have some wiggle room in case he wants to bring on developers to grow the business, or maybe bring on some marketers to build some paid funnels for him, all that kind of stuff. Overall, though, Ray is pretty niche agnostic. As long as we have the predictable revenue, that's all that really matters for Ray. So we come back over to the marketplace, we'll clear the filters, open up this filter tab again. We'll open up monetization. And on all we click is SaaS and subscription. Those are the two business models that typically have recurring revenue. So those are the only ones we're interested in right now. And we want to have a business that's making at least $4,000 per month. So we'll put 4,000. And those are our two main criteria for this one. So as you can see, we came up with a few listings here, and that we can now start doing a deeper dive of our due diligence. We can also look over here into the Spark graphs to tell us more of the story of what's going on with these businesses. So this one, we see profit is steadily growing at a pretty good clip, and same with revenue, so that makes sense. Looks like their traffic actually dipped here, so that would be something that you might ask as a due diligence question if you do a deeper dive onto this business. But those are some of the other things you can do with this. If you're displaying the Spark graphs, you can really tell a general gist of what the business is, what the story of that business is, and it can create some interesting questions for you when you do start talking to our team or when you actually get on a call with this seller. So let's hop back into our presentation here. Do you want to add anything, James?
Yeah, just one thing here. Inside the marketplace, one thing we will be adding over here is saved filters. So be really easy for you to add to save your criteria. And also one feature we'll be releasing very soon is an automated email notification gets sent out directly to your inbox once new listings go live. So that will make it really easy for you to not miss any listings that go live on our marketplace.
Yeah, that's a really good point. With those saved filters, it's going to speed up your due diligence even quicker, and you'll get an email when those new listings go live, so you'll never miss it when one of those do go live. That's a good thing to note. So overall, with those three case examples, you're going to be able to cut through the noise. You're going to be able to focus on the right targets. You'll be able to display the information most important to you. If you only want to see the Spark graphs with the listing number and the list price, you can do that simply by opening up the column view, and you can use the filter options to cut down from dozens of listings to just a handful. And if those look good to you from the Spark graphs and the other information you see, you can just add them to your watch list, and you can start diving deeper into the business. So with that said, let's do a listing page overview. We'll look at one of our targets and we'll show you what you can see on the public marketplace. This is, again, before you even make a deposit, so you still haven't talked to anyone yet. This is just the information that's publicly displayed. So let's look at one of these SaaS businesses. This 1.4 million. To dive deeper into the business, all you have to do is click the listing number here, and it'll open up the public-facing page. So right away, you can see that some content here is locked. That is only going to be accessible when you place a deposit, which we're going to show you how to do. But you can see quite a bit of information as is. You can see obviously the listing price, what the revenue is, the net profit based off the average. You can see the pricing period here. We're using a 12-month average. The multiple is 64x. You can see when the business was created and the actual assets included in the sale. Down here, you can see the listing summary. So after you get your 5 or 6 acquisition targets, I recommend coming in to each of those targets, looking at the listing summary and really understanding what this business is to see if you want to go any further. Now in this blank space right here, this is where a seller interview will be. So once this business has a seller interview published on YouTube with one of our staff, this will be populated with the seller interview. So you don't have to go to YouTube, you don't have to go anywhere else. You can just stay on the listing page, click play, and hear from the seller and the story of them creating this business and why they're selling it. So if you scroll down, you can also see the earnings. So this is pretty cool. You can change the timeline. So if you want to see the last 12 months, you just click there. We started on 6 months. If you want to go, really recent, you can just go to last month and see those targets here. And of course, you can see all time to see the overall trend growth of the business. And this one's looking pretty good. James has some SaaS envy here. And the same thing with traffic. You can do all the stuff you can do in earnings. You can do it with the traffic as well. Let's see if the traffic has been good. Looks like their traffic, yeah, this is the one that had the dip. So that'd be something I'd be interested in. I mean, it looks like revenue has been going up despite the dip. So that's interesting. It means it's weathered a storm and is probably a much more stable business for it. So that's cool. Now down here, you'll see SEO data. We use Ahrefs, if you're familiar with them. They're one of the leading solutions for getting good SEO data. Right now, this is blocked though. Until you make a deposit, we don't show you this information, just because if you had this information, it'd be very easy often to find the site. So we don't want to give that away unless someone is going to place a deposit. Down here, you can see the proof of earnings and the proof of traffic. So these are screenshots that you can scroll through to do a bit of a deeper dive. All of these screenshots, of course, are redacted, so you're not going to see any sensitive information on here, but it gives you a much more bigger view of what the business is really doing. And you can also see the opportunities. So these are the opportunities that the seller has said that the business has that you could explore as the buyer. Now on risk, you see that there's no data to show. And the reason why is that was a recent module we just added. So over the coming weeks, most of our listings are going to show risk. So you understand what might, what might some bad things that could happen, right? A Google update or FBA policy change, all that kind of stuff. So those risks will be featured here, as well as any other risks that the seller believes the business has. You can also see the work and skill required. So this one, the seller is currently spending 15 hours per week. The seller spends 10 to 20 hours per week on average on customer service, managing contractors, and developing content for the site. So those might be opportunities for you as the buyer looking at the SaaS business. I know a pretty good content agency. I can probably outsource that a bit, cut down that 10 to 20 hours even more. I know a good customer service agency I could use, all that good stuff. So do you want to add something, James? James is just impressed with his listing. So you can also see seller support includes, this is what the seller is willing to provide you as the buyer. So in this case, it's 30 to 60 days of support to ensure a smooth transition. And you can see the reason for the sell. The seller is looking to devote more time to another business that's in startup mode. And you can see other information here. We know the domain type is a .com, platform is other, so maybe it's built on a custom platform rather than WordPress. And you can also see the buyer profiles. So if you're not familiar with our buyer personas, there is a quiz we have that you can take that you can figure out your own buyer persona. But for this one is a lifestyle Larry and a portfolio Paul. So someone that wants to buy a business where it's minimal to maintain but provides a really good, decent income, or for a portfolio Paul, someone who's looking to diversify their risk by maybe adding multiple different monetizations, or just in general multiple different businesses might be in the same monetization, that this business is a great fit for. One other thing you'll see down here, this is a new feature that we're pretty excited about, is the frequently asked questions. So you can't see this unless you place a deposit, because obviously some of the questions are going to be pretty intimate. So we want to make sure that only depositors are seeing this. But once you do make a deposit, you'll be able to see other people's frequently asked questions, and you will be able to ask the seller a question as well, and you will be able to get a much more detailed information about the business, again, without really having to talk to anyone just yet. And down here, if this listing looked very interesting to you and you wanted to see other listings that are similar to it, you will see 3 different options down here of businesses that have some kind of relation to this business that might interest you. So that's the listing page. Let's go back into our presentation here and explain why we do refundable deposits. So if you're brand new to us, if you've ever used another broker, you might think this deposit system sounds a bit weird, but what we found is that it's actually faster than letter of intents, or LOIs as most people call them. They allow you to see more opportunities because we don't lock up a listing through an LOI. We use a deposit process, and it's completely refundable. Once you put down the deposit, we show you all the information. And while yes, you are there's other buyers also looking at that business, it provides you more opportunities to see acquisition targets that make sense for you. It also cuts out copycat marketers. This is another big reason why we do it. Ultimately, we want people with skin in the game when they are looking at these businesses and doing their due diligence. And this is one way we do that. Even though it's completely refundable, copycat marketers are very loath to put in their credit card. So in the end, this protects both you as the future buyer and of course the seller that is selling on our platform. So that's a quick reason why we do refundable deposits if you're not familiar with the system. So let's actually place a deposit. So James, do you want to show how to do this?
So you come in here to the listing page and super easy, click on place deposit. You agree to our terms of service, and then there's two ways to place a deposit. You can either use a credit card, super easy, or you can use a VIP code. We're making some updates really soon to this page, so if you do have a VIP code, you can just click use VIP code straight away, and it'll also be saving your credit card information, so this whole checkout flow is going to be super easy in the future within a few weeks' time.
Yeah, if you're wondering how you get a VIP code, again, just wait to the end. There is a link that you can go to where you can set up a call with us. In order to get a VIP code, we have to talk with you first, and there's always a limited VIP code, and we just want to make sure that you're the right fit for looking at these certain businesses. But otherwise, we're more than willing to give you one if that's something you're interested in. And of course, there is the third option to look at the business where you just buy the business outright. So if you like this business so much, you want to buy it right away, probably not on the $1.4 million business, but say you're looking at a content site that is $30,000 to $50,000. Those tend to go within hours when they're on our marketplace, often days, but sometimes hours. And if you want to make sure you get that business, you made a deposit, it looks exactly like what you want, you can always click buy now, and you'll come up with the information on how you can buy that business right away. Now, another way you can get that 50K content site before someone else gets it, if you don't want to send in, this wire transfer, you could also do what is called a credit on file. And credit on file will allow you to buy a business instantaneously as well. So those are two strategies you can use to beat out competing buyers to get your asset quicker. Again, you probably wouldn't do this on a $1.4 million business, or maybe you would. But on a sub 100K content site where the competition is fierce and the business can go quickly, this is a strategy you can use that you can acquire that asset quicker. All right, so now let's talk about your profile within the actual platform, how the time zones works, because we have some pretty cool scheduling stuff that we can use to help you connect with our sellers and with our team easier. And let's also go over how the messaging system works. So James, you want to take this over?
Yeah, sure. So prior to now, there wasn't any login button or anything on Empire Flippers. Now we actually have a login page, and you can create your Empire Flippers account. And so if you come into the My Account section, this is where you can manage everything. We're going to be expanding on this in the future. One of the important features here is the time zone. We have customers from all over the world, and when buyers want to schedule calls with sellers, the time zone is a constant problem for us. In addition, our staff are based all over the world as well, so that can get pretty tricky. As a seller, Greg here has been demonstrating a lot of the buyer functionality, but we also have some seller functionality here as well. I'm logged into a demo buyer account, so we don't have any listings here, but if you are a seller and you submit a listing for sale, then your listings will appear here. And it's super easy to submit a business for sale. You just come here, click on this, and then you go through the seller submission process. As a seller, to accept buyer-seller calls, which we highly recommend, you can come into here, and it's really easy. You just select the time that you're available, such as this, and then you can copy those available call slots for the next 6 months. And if I travel to a different time zone, I can just easily change my time zone. And if I do that, then the time zones go up or down, just like that. Now, as a buyer, you go over here, and then it's super easy to schedule a call with the seller. So once you've placed a deposit, you get access to another calendar, which shows the available slots that the seller is available. Super easy to book a call. Just come in here, and you can optionally enter in some information about what sort of information you are looking to figure out for the business, and then you can book a call just like this. So super easy to do. Once you've done that, you'll be emailed a Google Calendar event that will be added to your Google Calendar so you won't miss it. And then as you go into the buyer's dashboard, they're super easy to see the upcoming seller calls, and this way you won't be missing any calls. Now, moving on to the messages section. So I remember when I was a seller, there was a constant backwards and forwards communication through email, which was a bit of a problem because things get lost and just very disorganized just using email. So what we've done is we've implemented the Zendesk single sign-on. Zendesk is our support service that we use, and this makes it basically ties in all of the support tickets into the platform. And so you can just click on the ticket here, and then you automatically get logged straight into Zendesk, and then you can view the entire ticket thread here. So really simple and easy to use. And if you click on my activities up here, again, you get the list of tickets. So this is just a first step. We're probably going to be expanding on this again in the future, but I feel that this is going to really sort of remove a lot of the clutter we have when it comes to communicating for both buyers, sellers, and Empire Flippers.
Yeah, for sure. If you're a routine seller or a buyer, you know that pain point exactly. So that's why we created this message system to keep everything in a single hub, so you can quickly find the messages that are important to you, and you can see the status, the last time they're updated, all that good stuff, and it's just much cleaner than the bit of the ugly Zendesk subject line emails that come out to you. So let's move on. So we just showed you a brief overview of the marketplace, and we're pretty excited about it, right, James?
Super excited.
Like this is huge for our audience, and this is just really the start. You know, we already have the most deal flow in the industry, and now with what James and his team has been able to do, you as the audience, you have powerful tools in your arsenal to speed up your due diligence. Or if you're a seller, as James says, I've been talking a lot about the buyers, but if you're a seller, what this means for you is that buyers are going to be able to find you way easier. Buyers that actually want your business, that they use the filters, they look, they have their criteria, and they found your asset, and they're going to be able to find that much easier. And the ease of functionality is only going to keep getting better. So James, do you want to talk about what is coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, sure. So Joe mentioned that this was a MVP, which means minimum viable product. So we've been thinking about how do we strike the right balance between creating features that are for both buyers and sellers. And so we'll be expanding on that. One thing I mentioned earlier was the saved filters, which is going to make it super easy for you to get email notifications when listings match your criteria. We'll also be integrating with Amazon FBA, Google Analytics, and third-party data providers. Xero, QuickBooks, for example, to get all this information directly into the platform. And this is going to make it much easier for a seller standpoint. And hopefully this is going to reduce the amount of communication that's going backwards and forwards with Empire Flippers. And we want to use as much automation as we possibly can here just to streamline our process. And ultimately, this is just going to mean a much better user experience for everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are some super exciting stuff, especially the matchmaking program. So we're about to open up for questions. If you have any questions, just go ahead and enter it into the question tab. I think that's what it is in GoToWebinar, and we'll start answering those. But if this sounds like something you are interested in, there are a few options of what you can do. So if you have never signed up for us, if you never made a deposit or anything like that, you likely don't have an account. You can sign up for our new marketplace by just going to empireflippers.com/register. Now, if you do have an account, or if you have ever made a deposit, you actually already have an account. It's live right now. All you have to do is go to empireflippers.com/login. Oh, that. Those are pretty links, James. They're
you thought about this. Clever boy.
That's funny. but yeah, so empireflippers.com/register. You can sign up for the platform. If you have already made a deposit, or if you're a seller, you technically already have an account because this all went live just a few hours ago, right, James?
Yeah, literally 12 hours ago.
Yeah, so 12 hours ago. So all you need to do is go to empireflippers.com/login, click forget password, and you will be sent a new password that you'll be able to log in to the platform. Now, if this all this talk about due diligence and criteria got you excited, but you're not quite sure how to do it, you can also set up a criteria discovery call with our team of business analysts. They're in the trenches every single day helping people buy and acquire deals. And you can click on empireflippers.com/buyer-call to set up that free criteria call. Now, on the flip side, if you're a seller and you want to do some exit planning so you can get a bigger valuation, you can also set up an exit planning call at no charge to you. It's 100% free, where we'll help you create an action plan to sell your business to the highest multiple possible. Within reason, of course. And that's just empireflippers.com/seller-call.
So thank you for sticking with us, guys. And this is Joe again, Greg, and good job, James, sticking through this, getting through everyone through the platform. Let us know if you have any questions. We haven't seen anything come through exactly yet, but we will answer those. One thing I did want to say is you might have noticed a little bit of a delay in some of the search parameters that Greg was entering. Some of the pages not loading as fast. We're here in Thailand. We're dealing with a little wonky internet, so we're doing our best. But those of you in the States, I think will see that the platform is quite speedy. So, and the second thing I wanted to say is, eventually everyone who's dealing with Empire Flippers is going to need to log into this platform. So you go ahead, getting an account and logging in and fooling around with it is going to be good. In the next few weeks, we'll be transitioning where in order to do business with us, you will have to use this system.
All right, guys, Justin here. We're going to start getting into the questions and just kind of going through them. I'm not sure who's going to answer what. It'll probably depend on the question. So let's get that started, boys.
Still use the platform. Hey guys, Greg back here. So we got a question coming in from Major, and he's asking, is there a filter for SBA pre-approved sites? That's a great question. There totally is. James, you want to show them how that works? Might want to reset filters to get off our SaaS businesses.
Yep, there it is. It's just at the bottom down here, SBA financing.
Yep, it's as simple as that. You just go through the filter, you drop down to SBA financing and click yes, and it will filter through all of our listings that have pre-approved SBA on them. So you want to go to the next question here? So we got a question, is there a filter for open to owner financing? James?
At the moment, there isn't a filter for that option.
That's probably something that will. Oh.
Yeah, I can address that. This is Joe. I can tell you that most of the larger sites, Major, are probably going to be open to that. So anything over $500, maybe even $300,000, most sellers are going to be open to some form of seller financing. So I would go ahead and set up a call with our sales team. They can definitely walk you through that and come up with some sort of financing option that might work for you. For smaller sites, though, we do see cashed up buyers, and there's really not a need for seller financing. But good feature request. And guys, you can always use the feedback button. You can always use the feedback button in the lower right-hand corner to give us some feedback. And if you wanted to go ahead and say something like, hey, really would like to see a seller financing filter, we'll go ahead and add that.
Thanks for that, Joe. We got a question here that I think is a good one for you, James. Any chance that this will be developed as a progressive web app to allow a more app-like experience or on mobile devices? So James, you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure. So at the moment, our web app is fully responsive. And so if you're on a mobile device, everything should be displayed nicely. I want to stress that this is a starting point. We are thinking about mobile apps in the future, but we are undecided about that at the moment in time.
Bill says, great job, guys. This looks awesome. Thanks, man. We appreciate it. So the next question we have is, will the listing still go live at the same time every Monday? Consider adding a countdown timer or something. Yes. So the short answer to that is yes. Nothing changes in terms of our release schedule of new listings. They will still go live same time every Monday. There is the additional feature of saved filters, being able to send you a transactional email that shows you what businesses that matches your criteria, the ones that you're most interested in. But yeah, new listings will still go live on Monday, just like normal.
I think the save filter, this is Justin here, by the way. I think the save filter is particularly interesting because we get a lot of questions for like, look, can you tell me when specifically this deal or this size of deal is available? You'll be able to set your own criteria and you're going to get an email specifically about deals that meet that criteria. So that's been a huge request from buyers for a very long time, and we're happy to be able to deliver that.
So the next question we have is, how are similar listings decided? James, you want to answer this one?
The similar listings are decided based on niche monetization and listing price. And so that'll just list off all of the listings that are similar to that, and then we'll pick the top 3.
That's a pretty long question. Maybe we'll come back to that one. So we got a question, when will this be live for buyers to set up an account? As we just mentioned, it's live right now. So you can go ahead and set up your account. Like I said, if you've never used us before, never made a deposit or anything like that, just go to empireflippers.com/register. If you have used us, you already have an account. It's just empireflippers.com/login. Since it is a new release, you'll have to click forgot password and we'll email that to you so you can log in right away.
We'll be adding a button to the main website very soon, so this will be a little bit easier to access, a login button to empireflippers.com. But for now, we're simply making people go to the app. You know, someone did ask in a comical sense, so you've basically copied Flippa, and I'd like to address that now because, you know, Flippa is a DIY platform, and we at Empire Flippers are never going to be a do-it-yourself platform. We're still going to be here to walk you through the entire process. We still have a staff of over 60 people to walk you through not only the selling process, but the buying process. Try to do that at Flippa. You won't be able to.
That's one of the big unique selling propositions of using a broker. So we are a brokerage that has a marketplace and a curated list. So the only thing that you see that is changing here is it's just much easier for you to find the businesses that make sense for you. We still have a full-on sales team to help you make that deal, and of course a migrations department to help you transfer that deal once you get the actual ownership of that asset. It looks like one person got a 404 error on empireflippers.com/login. So they can still go to, it's fixed? Cool, our data tech just says it's fixed. So try it again, Manny. If you get a 404, please just respond and we'll look at that again, but it should be fixed now. So do you want to answer this one? We got a question. What is the difference between orange and blue profit revenue lines?
Sure. So when you come to the marketplace and you clear all the filters, the new listings are highlighted in orange and all the other listings are blue. So it's a really easy way for you just to see the new listings. If you just want to view the new listings, you can click on the new listings filter, and then this gives you just new listings. So super easy.
So we got a question from TJ. Where can feature requests be sent in the future? As Joe mentioned earlier, if you have any feedback, such as a feature request, just go to the bottom right in your account and click feedback, and it'll open up a pop-up here where you can enter any information you want, whether it's a feature request, maybe you found a bug, or maybe you just want to leave James some compliments for the work his team has done.
I'll also add that if you do have any negative feedback, that is very useful for us. We can put our emotions to a side for a moment, so please send that. Don't hesitate to send us any sort of feedback like that.
Yeah, for sure. In the end, it all helps to make it better for the end user, which is you guys. So we got a question from Rajiv. Is SBA financing available for overseas buyers as well? And unfortunately, it is not. SBA is only for sellers that have an American entity and for buyers that are also American. All right, we got a question from Julian. Also, what is your plan with the investment platform in the future, not just a marketplace? This might be a great question for you, Joe.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I appreciate that, Julian. What I'm envisioning is a matchmaking program. So, what we have right now is we have a good deal of buyers that have money, but simply don't want to operate a online business. And conversely, we have operators who simply don't have the money to buy an online business. So my idea was to go ahead and match up these buyers or investors with these operators. Right now, I'm testing through it privately, manually. If you are an investor or an operator, please email me, joe@empireflippers.com, and I'll do some manual matchmaking. I'm trying to see the popularity of this, but that's kind of the idea of the investor side of the program.
We have a question here. If we're viewing listings from your email listing notifications, will clicking on those be taking us directly to the listing in the marketplace now? The answer is yes. They'll go straight to the listing page there so you can get the information very quickly.
So we just got another question. What percentage of listings that are submitted to EF is rejected? Typically, I would say
about 60 to 70% of listings that are submitted. And those are people who've paid the listing fee and gone through the basic process. Sometimes they're rejected on our behalf. Sometimes they end up dropping out of the process. But yeah, around 2/3. It's gotten maybe closer to 70% now, but yeah, right around there.
And before you ask, no, we cannot give you access to those listings, and no, we are not going to put those in somewhere else. They're rejected for a reason. They just don't meet our quality standards, and unfortunately, we're not willing to put the Empire stamp of approval on that.
Yeah, and one final thing on that, if you're a seller and you're looking to pay that fee to submit the business and it doesn't work out, it doesn't match what we're looking for on our marketplace, that's a total refundable fee as well, just similar to our deposit process. Thanks, Ryan, for the compliment. TJ, good. I'm glad you got in. That's good. So we got a question from David. Where do we go as investors to find operators to partner with?
Hey, I appreciate that, David. Like I said, I'm manually matching up investors with operators right now. Please email me, joe@empireflippers.com, and I'll go ahead and, based on your criteria, match you up with an operator. And in the future, we're going to have this in the platform.
So we got a question from Lisa. Can you add a business to your watch list once you click into the listing? James?
I don't think so, but it's a great idea. Thanks for the feedback.
That's exactly the kind of feedback we want. That's good stuff. All right.
Yeah, so we had another compliment on two-factor authentication. So obviously that's in the account area. You can also add your own little profile picture. You can see any VIP codes associated with your account. Soon you'll be able to see credit cards associated there as well. It really is a full-fledged account. And as James said before, this is just a minimum viable product now. We're going to be adding more and more account features as things go on, including identity verification and other things. So.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we are through all the questions. If you're out there and you didn't get your question answered, or maybe you think of a question later, you can always feel free to reach out to us. And obviously, when you're playing around with the platform, don't feel afraid to submit some honest feedback when it comes to the platform, as it helps us. It won't hurt our feelings. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make it easier for you out there, whether you're looking to buy businesses or sell businesses. So I'm going to give the microphone to Justin and Joe. But before I do, James, do you have any closing thoughts you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to say this has been super fun to work on, and I'm really excited for the future. This is just the beginning. We have a great team here at Empire Flippers. We've got 4 full-time engineers, and yeah, just super excited to hear your feedback. So please send it to us. Thanks.
And if you're a developer, James, you want to tell them how good of a boss you are real quick?
Amazing boss, super easy to get on with, very chill, and company culture is great.
All right, here's Justin.
Don't let James fool you. He's a taskmaster. No. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the hard work you guys have done. It's nice to see the fruits of that labor coming to bloom, so to speak. Anyway, this is Justin and Joe again. Just want to thank you guys so much for coming on the webinar and allowing us to share this with you. We're really excited about what we're able to do here. I think it's really going to speed up your due diligence time to give you better access to listings, and particularly where we're going in terms of an investor/operator platform, we're able to match that up. I really think this is going to be cutting edge of the industry, and we have a lot of really interesting things planned. If you have any requests, again, send in your feature requests. We want bugs. We want to hear all about it so we can make this as good as possible for you.
Yeah, this is the first I've seen anything like this in the industry, a full service sort of platform. No other broker has this, so definitely looking to make advancements in this area. So like Justin said, if you have any comments or feedback, please drop that in. Please spread the word. If you know anyone that hasn't done business with us before, introduce them to the platform, or even if they have, but they didn't know that we had it, have them come check it out, because the more people we talk to, the better.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to go ahead and sign off now. Thanks for coming on the webinar. We really appreciate it, and we'll call it a day.
Bye-bye, everybody.